evening on the World News tonight from BGI Television. First, the headlines. Tinubu adopted reforms Buhari, Jonathan, others shied away from. His government should completely remove fuel, electricity subsidy, and others. PDP governors arrive Abuja for crucial meeting. Witness confirmed $6.2 million payment for foreign election observers. Court adjourns Emefiele's trial. Tell your husband to address hunger insecurity in Nigeria. Emir of Kano to First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. On sports, Super Eagles are now without a coach. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. The news in detail. The International Monetary Fund has called on President Bola Tinubu's government to ensure a complete phase-out of fuel and electricity subsidies despite the rising inflation and high cost of living in the country. It noted that Tinubu adopted two policies reforms that its predecessors had shied away from: fuel subsidy removal and the unification of the official exchange rate. Former President Goodluck Jonathan tried to remove the fuel subsidy during his administration, but Nigerians kicked against it through Occupy Nigeria protest. His successor, Muhammad Buhari, also tried to do so, but pushed it till he left office. Tinubu, in his inaugural address as president, announced the removal of fuel subsidy and that his administration will unify exchange rates. However, these policies have pushed up inflation rates and brought hardship on Nigerians. The International Financial Institution highlighted that Nigeria is grappling with a compounding cost of living crisis, worsened by stagnant per capita growth, poverty, and heightened food insecurity. It, however, said subsidies on fuel and electricity are costly and don't benefit those that mostly need government support. Although the organization underscored the escalating challenges occasioned by mounting inflation, currency devaluation, sluggish economic expansion, and closures of businesses, it expressed optimism that the government's focus on revenue mobilization and digitalization would improve public service delivery and safeguard fiscal sustainability. Governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, under the aegis of PDP Governors Forum, have started arriving at the Oyo State Governors Lodge at Sokoro for a crucial meeting. Details of the agenda of the meeting are still sketchy, but it was gathered that the state of the nation, the forthcoming Edo governorship election, as well as plans to set an agenda for the party's long-awaited National Executive Committee meeting of the party are to receive priority during the meeting. The governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, and his Zamfara State counterpart, Dauda Lawal, are among the first callers at the venue. A deputy director in charge of branch operations in the Central Bank of Nigeria, Onyeka Ogbu, on Monday told the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Maitama that he was aware of a $6.2 million payment request for international election observers. The former governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, is standing trial on an amended 20 charges bordering on criminal conspiracy, conferring undue advantage, and breach of trust, among others, preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He was accused of impersonating the secretary to the government of the Federation to illegally obtain a sum of $6.2 million. The anti-graft agency alleged that Emefiele, in January 2023, forged a document titled Pre-Presidential Directive on Foreign Election Observer Missions, dated January 26, 2023, with reference number SGF 43/L.01/201. At the resumed proceedings, Ogbu, who is the prosecution witness, said the request was made on January 8, 2023. He noted that he reviewed the document and subsequently gave approval for disbursement, which was then executed. Ogbu is to make payment we don't have the power to approve. Having gone through the document and satisfied, I minuted on it and sent for processing and disbursement, which was compiled with. All documents were identified, but certain pages were absent. Moving on to the next story. A deputy director in charge of operations at the Central Bank at the Federal Capital Territory Airport, Federal Capital Territory High Court Abuja, that he was aware of the $6.2 million as reported earlier. He noted that the documents were identified, but certain pages were absent. This led to the prosecution counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, to request a temporary oath for the issue of the missing pages to be addressed. Counsel to Emefiele, Matthew Boka, however, objected, adding that the prosecution is bound by the evidence presented in the document. He said adjournment is better to allow the prosecution to get all the certified true copies and also for the witness to be cross-examined. After listening to their submissions, Justice Amza Mohazu adjourned till Tuesday for the continuation of the trial. The former governor of the bank, Godwin Emefiele, is standing trial on amended 20 charges bordering on criminal conspiracy, conferring undue advantage, and breach of trust, among others, preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He was accused of impersonating the secretary to the government of the Federation to illegally obtain a sum of $6.2 million. Moving on to the next story. The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has urged the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu to tell President Bola Tinubu about the high level of hunger and starvation in the country. The Emir, who spoke through an interpreter, added the hunger and starvation didn't start with this government, but the situation has become more alarming and needs urgent attention. He also urged her to tell Tinubu to address insecurity, saying, "The issue of insecurity is another serious problem we are facing. I know your government inherited it, but something more serious should be done to take care of this threat." Bayero also spoke on the relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN) and some department of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to Lagos. Do more enlightenment on this matter. I, for one, cannot tell the actual intentions of the government, which should be made to actually understand the reasons behind the relocation of the CBN and FAN office to Lagos. In the same vein, he urged the President's wife to actualize our renewed Hope Initiative PET program, noting that the scheme, if fully actualized, will free the less privileged from their shackles. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, has stated that if the ongoing inflation continues unabated, organized labour might push for a new minimum wage up to 1 million naira for Nigerian workers. Ajaero said the demand for organized labour would be influenced by the cost of living, which has been increasing since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, notably due to the removal of fuel subsidy and other policies. The NLC president said this during an interview Sunday evening. The 1 million naira may be relevant if the value of the Nigerian naira continues to depreciate, if the inflation continues unchecked, because the demand of labor is equally dependent on what is happening in the society. You will remember that by the time we were contemplating 200,000 naira as minimum wage, the exchange rate was about 800 to 900 per dollar. As we talk today, the exchange rate is about 1,400 naira or even more. And to the next story from Southwest. The Ondo State Security Network, codenamed Amotekun Corps, on Monday raised the alarm over the sudden upsurge in kidnapping in the state, linking the development to heavy presence of security personnel in the neighboring Ekiti state. The state commander of Amotekun Corps, Akogun Adetunji Adeleye, who disclosed this, however, warned that the state can never be a haven for criminals. Adeleye spoke while parading no fewer than 43 suspected kidnappers arrested in the state in the last 1 week. Addressing journalists during the parade of suspects, Adeleye informed that the Corps arrested the 43 suspected criminals from their various operations across the 18 local government areas of the state. According to him, the information team about on kidnapping cases, about half of 43 are suspected kidnappers, and we have reasonable reasons to question. We have over 50, but those that we have reason to question why they were there and what we found on them around the teens of kidnap across the state are these 20 you were saying as regards the parade. Adeleye further informed, we are rising to the challenge, and all of them that we have picked in kidnap scenes, during kidnap and during attempt to kidnap with credible victims around to identify some of them are the ones we are parading today. While saying some of the suspects were arrested with local arms and ammunition, Adeleye said the suspects were not able to justify what they wanted to do with the arms and ammunition found on them. Moving on to foreign. Fairly used car dealers in the United States of America, USA, and Canada are gradually winding down their respective businesses over the incessant hike in Nigeria's custom duty rate. With the continuous dominance of the dollar over the naira, exporters of vehicles from America and Canada, respectively, can no longer cope with the situation, which in turn has led to gradual off of fairly used vehicles exportation in Nigeria. Findings further revealed that vessels sailing to Nigeria from the two countries since December 2023 might be the last for a long while the lull in demand. It was gathered that dealers in America cannot afford to pay warehouse rentages of the vehicles for sale due to low patronage by Nigerian dealers. Most of the shippers who have large market in Nigeria are calling on the government to look inward and put in place policies that will help them stay afloat. Finally, sports. After the final whistle of the title match of the 34th Africa Cup of Nations in Abidjan late Sunday night, the Nigerian football team, the Super Eagles, became coachless. The interim contract signed with the Portuguese manager José Peseiro lapsed as it was tied to the end of the AFCON 2023. The original contract ended last year June, but had to be extended to cover the period of the Africa Cup of Nations. The renewal of the interim 6-month contract was tied to Nigeria getting to the semi-finals, a condition that Peseiro met when the Super Eagles defeated Angola in the quarterfinals. Nigeria's next assignment is the qualification of the 2025 AFCON, which preliminaries begin next month. Although, for the first time in recent history of the competition, CAF failed to announce the fixtures for the preliminaries of the next edition. But a timeline had already been issued since last year. The details showed schedules that first and second matches 2nd to 10 September 2024, third and fourth match days 7 to 15 October 2024, fifth and sixth match days 11th to 19 November 2024. In addition, the Super Eagles have 2 match days of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. On 2nd June, they will be hosting Bafana and then travel to Benin Republic for another World Cup qualifier on 9th June. With the sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news. Before we go, some headlines. Tinubu adopted reforms Buhari, Jonathan, others shied away from. His government should completely remove fuel and electricity subsidy. PDP governors arrive Abuja for crucial meeting. Witness confirmed $6.2 million payment for foreign election observers. Federal courts adjourns Emir's trial till tomorrow. Tell your husband to address hunger insecurity in Nigeria, Emir of Kano to First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. On sports, Super Eagles are now without a coach. For update of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Babagwagede Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell selected from all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rabila Lawad. Good evening.